Hello and welcome to this video on phishing, the sixth lesson in this class on security and wallets. So in this video, we'll be specifically discussing phishing. So what is phishing? Well, phishing is the fraudulent practice of sending messages purporting to be from reputable sources in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information, such as passwords and private keys. As such, phishing is really just an important subset of scams. So the cryptocurrency markets are the Wild West of the financial world. The number of scams in the crypto asset space is really astounding. It's no surprise that anywhere there's money, there are people trying to take other people's money. Thousands of criminals and dishonest people are using all sorts of different schemes to steal from unsuspecting investors in this space. Unfortunately, the low education level in the crypto markets, mixed with the ability to confuse people with fancy sounding high-tech terminology, is a perfect storm for fraud and scams and phishing. So I'd like to start by saying you should only ever buy coins from a legitimate cryptocurrency exchanges. And with that, the bigger the exchange, the better. Don't buy crypto from eBay, Craigslist, personal ads, social media promotions, or any other sort of facility that isn't a major cryptocurrency exchange. And even a lot of the smaller and mid-sized exchanges are highly risky, while few others are outright frauds. Don't buy crypto from strangers unless it's through a site that facilitates it, like Payfair or Local Bitcoins. Next, be on the lookout for URL fakes. Never assume the top Google search result takes you to the website you want. As we covered in earlier lessons, always use a safe bookmark or type in the URL directly. This way, you'll make sure you're not on a clone site designed for phishing. Many of the sites where you can buy cryptocurrencies directly are scams. These are sites designed to look exactly like official sites for a particular cryptocurrency, but are run by scam artists waiting to take your money. Some ICOs, even if they happen to be legal in your jurisdiction, are big scams. Many cryptocurrencies marketed as the next big thing are simply just trash. Falling victim to a scam is different than being hacked, but the end result can still feel the same. So to make sure we're clear, a scam is a fraudulent act or activity usually set up purposely to take money away from an unsuspecting victim. Another big one we should talk about is a Ponzi scheme. If you don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, it's a fraudulent investment operation where the operator generates returns for older investors through revenue paid by new investors, rather than from legitimate business activities or profit of financial trading. BitConnect was a great example of this type of shady crypto project that you should never trust your money with. The first step to protecting yourself against fraud is to be aware that within the cryptocurrency space, probably more so than any other financial market, there's a huge number of criminals and malicious actors who will try to separate you from your money. If you understand this, hopefully you'll be cautious with the investments that you make and the handling of your assets. The best approach for investing in crypto is trust nothing without verification. A few hours of research can prevent the loss of hundreds or thousands of dollars in investments. When it comes down to scams relating to specific cryptocurrencies, some online communities have created their own sets of resources to help ensure that unsuspecting investors do not get scammed. In particular, I like visiting Reddit communities, which will have pages listing the known and suspected scams, as well as the sites they trust. Before investing in a particular cryptocurrency, you should always try to find a similar page to that one, and learn everything possible about which resources to avoid. This precaution will help you avoid scam websites, non-validated wallets, and unsecure generation of seeds or private keys. Time spent on education and research is unquestionably worth every minute that you put into it. If you understand some historical scams and current attack vectors, you'll drastically reduce the chance of you being a victim. So to emphasize, you can never be too safe. You need to do a ton of research before you invest in any project, and your best approach is to treat everything with a very critical eye. There are hundreds of examples of cryptocurrency projects that have turned out to be scams or Ponzi schemes. So don't let it happen to you. So I think it'll be effective if we go over some of the top cryptocurrency scams and how to avoid them. One of the biggest ones is online seed generators. Many investors have fallen victim to the scam for many different currencies. Make sure that you never generate a seed from an online seed generator. Many of these are fake pages set up by criminals. Even taking some of them offline does not give you a safe seed, because many of these scam sites simply generate a seed offline by picking a seed from a list of compromised seeds that a scammer has generated. Only use seed generators that are offline and are specifically endorsed by the developers of a project. Incidentally, never trust links on Wikipedia pages either, as a number of scammers have added links to malicious seed generators on various Wikipedia pages. The next scam to look out for are fake websites. If you search through the various websites that allow you to buy cryptocurrencies, chances are high that some of the top results will be fake imitation sites, which will take your funds and you'll never see your money again. This is especially the case with imitation cryptocurrency exchange websites. As we've talked about, Binance only has one site at Binance.com, but if you do a Google search, you'll find 6 to 8 fake Binance sites that all have slight variations of the URL from the real website. Be on the lookout for character substitutions in the URL of the sites, such as a capitalized I instead of a lowercase l. And the simplest way to avoid this scam is to do your research to confirm the legitimate URL for the site you're looking for. Then enter it in your browser as a safe cryptocurrency bookmark. From that point on, only visit the site by going through the bookmark. Of course, someone could create malware that looks for browser bookmarks to major exchanges and edits them, so always do just a close visual check on the URL after you reach the site. And remember, this does not just apply to exchange websites. For example, mymonero.com is a legitimate website for Monero wallets, but if you do a Google search, you'll find 7 or 8 different variations of that URL, all set up to look exactly like the mymonero.com website, and will even let you download a wallet. But the problem is that wallet has been compromised. If you use that wallet, if you send your funds to that wallet, you would essentially just send your funds directly to the scammer. So be very careful that you're downloading the official wallet. The other thing you can do is find out about the team who developed their wallet. Search their GitHub repositories. If they don't have a good Git reputation, they are not likely to keep your coins safe. So the next scam we should talk about is imitation projects. A common scheme for scammers who have a background in coding or merely spend a few $100s to hire a developer for a few hours is to create a cryptocurrency of their own which links the name of a well-known and legitimate project to their scam crypto by adding a second name such as Cash, Gold, Diamond, Platinum. You'll hear of projects such as Neo Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Silver, Monero Gold, and others that are scams trying to capitalize on the market recognition of the original projects. Another one to look out for is third-party resellers of wallets. Look, if you're buying a hardware wallet such as a Ledger or Trezor, always buy it directly from the manufacturer or directly from an authorized reseller who is promoted on the Ledger or Trezor website. Even if there's an extensive wait time due to backlog of orders, I recommend you don't purchase from websites such as eBay or Amazon. While the actual devices are difficult to tamper with, and the safety factor should be high if you wipe the device on receiving it and create your own seeds or private keys, there's been numerous cases of people losing all their funds because they fell victim to a pre-configured wallet scam. Look, if you're going to be storing lots of cryptocurrency on a device that you bought in the mail, there's no reason not to be patient and order direct from the manufacturer to be safe. Another scam to look out for is third-party software wallets. Many people have created wallets that store a single cryptocurrency, but there's other wallets that store multiple cryptocurrencies. However, thousands of investors around the world have lost some of their coins because of these wallets. If you're using a desktop or mobile wallet, the safest solution is always to go to the project's official webpage and use only the wallets the developers of the project recommend. If this is inconvenient because you need 30 different software wallets to hold 30 different coins, have patience with being inconvenienced. And that's because security should always trump convenience. Another one is mobile wallets on app stores. Despite careful review of apps by Apple and Google, some malicious wallet apps occasionally manage to make it onto the App Store for short periods of time. If you're searching on the App Store for a specific app, always make absolutely sure that you're downloading a legitimate app and not a scam. A legitimate app is going to have lots of legitimate looking reviews. The next scam we should look out for are websites asking for private keys. Look, don't ever give up your private key. Remember, if you don't own your key, you don't own your crypto. The next scams to look out for are found within social media, such as Good Samaritans, sob stories, and crowd support. Essentially, the trick here is to never trust anyone on these platforms and only invest in something after doing lots and lots of research on it. Another scam we want to look out for is impersonation. It's an old trick where scammers will impersonate themselves as someone else. For example, the founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, is among one of the most popular Twitter accounts that gets impersonated. So in summary, if you're trying to use a website or a wallet associated with a crypto project, always make sure that you're using the resources that are officially endorsed by the developers of that project. As I mentioned, most subreddit communities for specific cryptos have a sidebar that lists the resources that the community members believe to be safe. So that brings us to the main topic of this video, phishing. The goal of a phishing scam is to spoof a real organization's online identity, whether it's through an email, a URL, or even a social media account, and trick users into thinking they're talking to someone of authority when it's really the scammer. Being very popular outside the cryptocurrency world, phishing scams have been used to try and steal users' information from sites like Google, Microsoft, and hundreds of other organizations. Once scammers successfully spoof an organization, they will ask users for their personal details, either by asking them to reset their password, divulging personal information, or just clicking on a link. Today, the most popular form of phishing scams in cryptocurrency will try to impersonate popular wallets, such as MyEther or a major ICO that is just launched. So how do phishing scams work? Well, first, the scammers need to do some setup. They'll pick a well-known social identity that has a lot of value tied to it. For example, MyEther is a very popular choice for investing in both Ethereum and ERC20 tokens. Many people use this service as a way to invest in ICOs. Scammers will look for different parts of this service to create replica identities, pulling inspiration from the URL, the design, the email signature, or the social account names. Then they'll try to attempt to register names and identities that look identical to the target identity. For example, the real URL for MyEther is myetherwallet.com. So a scammer might try to buy the URL myethervvwallet.com, which looks pretty similar to the real thing unless you really look close. Scammers will then try to target open platforms for cryptocurrency users, like Slack channels, Reddit, or Telegram, and pick authoritative names that match the target identity. Scammers will then try to send a message to as many users as possible, informing them of some issue. Users, not knowing any better, will click on the link for myetherwallet.com and instead are taken to myethervvwallet.com. The goal is to get them to enter their private information. By massively spamming this message across many channels, users click on this link and hand over their private keys, passwords, and other important information. So once the information has been given, the scammers now have direct access to the user's private keys and therefore their funds. The scammers will then use automated tools to extract funds from the victim's address and into their own secure wallet. Once these transactions are done, they are irreversible and unlikely to be recovered. So let's talk about some ways that you can avoid being a victim of a phishing scam. First, as I mentioned earlier, use a bookmark manager to bookmark known links to travel to secure sites. For example, if Coinbase really needs you to reset your password, they'll announce it on their main site or through an announced email. Always be suspicious of links being sent over private message or email. Next, you want to confirm through multiple sources. For example, if there's been a critical bug found in the software you use, it'll be announced through the company's blog, social media sites, and even in general media. Always confirm through multiple sources about any need to upgrade, or if there really is a legitimate security concern that would necessitate getting your crypto off that wallet or exchange. Next, we want to make sure that we only communicate with teams on their official channels. And this is because crypto projects are very open about when and where they will contact people, whether this is through email, Reddit, Slack, or Telegram. If you're being contacted out of one of these normal channels, or in a way that sounds a little bit suspicious, you can assume it's a phishing scam and flat out ignore it. So in conclusion, if you're calm, tempered, and willing to wait, these scams will have no power over you. As opposed to pump and dump schemes, which prey on your fear of missing out or FOMO, phishing attempts prey on your fear of security. These scammers succeed when they make users fearful that something bad will happen if they don't comply. However, if you're patient and wait for more details, you can almost always avoid these sorts of scams, and you'll keep your cryptocurrency safe. So speaking of keeping your cryptocurrency safe, in the next video we'll be talking about software wallets and some of the ways to keep your cryptocurrency safe through using them.